Glad to finally connect with you. Um,
You too.
I think the first time, so just so you guys know that it's on your live, it's on my live. Got some people joining now. How I
Nice.
connected with Matt, I don't know if you know this, Matt, but I did a, I did a post that got a lot of hate. You know about the landlord hate in on TikTok. It is what it is, right? You
Yep.
know. But one of it was it was a post that I did about how to protect yourself from certain what we call in our business professional tenants, right?
Yes.
Tenants that know how to use the system against you when all we're trying to do, guys, is provide housing, right? Um,
Yep.
and there's obviously there's bad. We have a lot of good people, but there's a couple times where we've had bad people and we've learned from our mistakes. And so I did a post, and then you were on there. I think you were new to TikTok then, and you were kind of commenting back and forth to this. I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm like, oh, cool, he's in real estate. And then we started following each other, and then it we've been trying to obviously we've been trying to grow our following and get used to this whole TikTok thing. And my early videos were so terrible, and I mean
Oh.
they're still bad, but I'm getting better. But
Well, hey, it can't be as bad as we actually had. I did the WAP in the Grinch outfit.
I
Okay, it
I
can't
like
be
that
that
video,
bad.
man. That was a good video.
Oh,
The ones that I've seen you do, where you're like, you're doing your Ninja Warrior stuff. I'm like, dude, this guy's a beast. He's a ninja.
thanks.
Um, but anyways, so glad to be on here, and I wanted to kind of ask a couple questions, um,
Sure.
and one of them, and I'll share with your audience too some of the things that's working right now because I've been on some of your lives where you're actually at the auction. So my question is like, what is your best form right now today to get properties outside off the MLS? Because in my market, man, it's like be prepared to put 20 or to pay 20 to 30K more than what's listed. And for us, I mean, if this is our business that we have to buy houses every day, every week, every month to make a living, it's like, well,
Yep.
what else can we do? Like we can't buy properties on the MLS. So,
Right. No. No. Yeah. MLS. I haven't. We haven't found anything on the MLS for honestly years. We haven't. And up until 2 years ago, we were buying probably about 10 to 15 properties a month via the foreclosures.
yeah.
But now, between we actually had back in 2019, there was a big what's called the Thompson case that happened that basically made all foreclosures dead in the water, and actually and it basically created title issues for 3 years prior. So a whole
Oh,
bunch of
man.
foreclosures based on some stupid freaking technicality that one judge decided to rule on.
Yeah.
So that kind of set up us for the last couple of years, kind of had to switch, and then of course COVID came in, and it was dead for a while. We're seeing an uptick now,
Yeah.
but what we shifted into is we saw definitely we went and got condemned list properties from like the building department and code enforcement, chasing down a lot of those. We've also been switching and buying notes. So we've been either flipping
Notes.
some notes and been buying a lot of notes from banks, so non-performing notes mostly.
That's
And
cool.
then we had one of our guys who kind of is on the payroll. He basically just goes for pre-foreclosures. So he hunts down he goes and checks all the auctions, and generally maybe a month prior tries to negotiate something if they have a low enough mortgage amount
Hmm.
to where we buy it and help them transition or whatever. And this way it's kind of win-win.
That's nice, man.
So
That's awesome. What we've done, Matt, is so note investing has been kind of like this thing on the parking lot for us. And
okay.
we have a friend in the space. I don't know if you know him. His name is Eddie Speed. He's been doing the note business for so long, and we went to a couple
Yep.
of his classes. And Dave and I, we always want to like invest in our knowledge and stuff like that, especially with real estate because there's so many ways to skin the cat with real estate. And we so we went and got his coaching, which is really good coaching, by the way, and how to buy notes. And we
Okay.
came back to the office and we're like, man, we have a lot to do, don't we? Like we have, we at that point in time, this was 2 years ago, we were just transitioning out of the turnkey business. So Dave and I, from 2013 to 18, really we're one of the biggest turnkey operators in Ohio, and flipped a lot of
Oh,
deals
wow.
that way. Yeah, we were Columbus turnkey, and what we had done was we created this monster where we were giving away all of our best deals, and we were stuck in this because we got into this for the cash flow and back in 2012 to buy all these amazing deals and then keep it as rentals and grow our portfolio. But we were stuck in that 60 to kind of like 70 portfolio amount and rents and units. But we're like, well, what's going on? Well, we were flipping all these properties away, right?
Okay.
And so then we decided a couple of years ago to, like, all right, we need to focus on our own portfolio. We were looking at other avenues. Should we invest in apartments? Should we multifamily notes? So it's funny that you mentioned that. But going back to the original question of what's working now, for us, this is something
Yeah.
that we, because it used to be direct mail. We were big time in direct mail, spending 40 or 50K on direct mail. Now it's cold calling, right? It's cold
Yep.
calling, and then we do a follow-up system based on that cold call with text, ringless voicemail, which for you guys that don't know what that is, it's like, have you ever gotten a call, no ring, and just all of a sudden you get a voicemail notification? That's what we've been doing is
Okay.
first, it's cold calling. It's that outreach from the lists that we invest in. So we invest in with list brokers. PropStream, Matt, I know also uses it. Um, he uses PropStream, and we use PropStream, and we have a guy internally in our group that also finds a way to scrape county data, and then has this way. And he doesn't. This is we pay him good money to do this. He's kind of like a data scientist. He won't give away his secrets. That's okay, but he finds the most highly probable person that's going to sell their home. And
Right.
it could be, it's like we told him, like, here's our demographic, here's what we're really good at. And we've been pulling lists from the county, probate, divorce, and bankruptcy. And he was like, all right, well, give me all of that data. And then also give me your list uh, provider. And I was like, well, it's right. It was List Source. Now it's PropStream. And he formulates this thing and has this like software where, he basically gets, okay, this is the high probabilities of a person that's going to sell the house. And then we get a ton of leads that way.
And has
So,
that been very successful? You say you're
yes,
getting tons of
so
leads.
it has. So those are, we get about 75 leads a week. And out of
Okay.
75, we're getting about three-ish, four-ish every now and then. The highest we got was like 7 houses in contract. And this has
Oh,
been
wow.
from the start of October last year. So it's been
Okay.
going. It's been going well. The biggest thing that we've adjusted was that our cold callers were being the salespeople. Well,
Okay.
sometimes sometimes the VAs, because we use VAs to do the cold calling, Matt.
Yep.
They just don't know your area, right? They just don't know, like, physically. Sometimes they're in the Philippines or in Mexico or some other country. So what we've done is that those VAs are just looking for motivation. Once there's motivation, I'm going to sell. We're going to transfer it to our U.S. based salespeople, and we have 3
That makes
right
sense.
now. And so that's working really well. That was a tweak that we just made the last couple months. So hopefully
Oh,
that added
wow.
some value to your audience.
Yeah, no,
Um,
guys. I think they'll definitely get value of that.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
So okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. What's working now? But tell me about. So I know that you have a business partner, right? And Kevin, and based on the videos that you guys have been doing, you guys were friends back in college. Can you can you
Correct.
uh, can you share your kind of your story when you guys were friends back in college?
Correct.
Can you share your kind of your story real
He was actually teaching a Taekwondo class.
quick? Okay.
And so I joined, and he was the instructor, and we kind of just, became friends. And he was communications major. I was kind of bio pre-med major. And so we kind of, became friends, connected. And I always knew he had a really great salesman. He was working at a Radio Shack at the time as well.
Radio Shack.
And yeah, no, right.
Right. I remember those.
Yeah. And we just kind of knew, I always knew that was, we're going to do business together. And I'd already done real estate a little bit before. And then 2008 came, and I had just got laid off from a job I was doing with this lady out in Amherst, Mass. And I said, that's it. I'm going all in. I'm going to figure out this real estate. I talked to Kevin, and I'm like, let's pool some money. He was working at a car dealership at the time. And basically, I went and found the property, and I'm like, all right, I'll fix it up. We'll get hard. I mean, we basically did the BRRRR before, Brendan Turner coined the BRRRR.
Yeah.
But, it was, we were just like, all right, we'll get a hard money lender out of Boston, and we had a little bit of money. We had $10,000, basically $5,000 each. Bought the 2-family house, renovated it. I pretty much did most of the work. I did the plumbing, even though I shouldn't have. But I did the electrical. I did everything.
Yeah.
So things we learn, you need licenses and permits. Those are the right things to do. Don't do that. But, you're figuring stuff out. I was sanding the floor. I had the edger. I was going around doing all that. It had like 4 layers of paint on it. It sucked.
Yeah.
But we kind of ground through it, and kind of just basically snowballed from there, and rolled that into the next one, and then we're putting out 100 offers a week. And
wow.
I was looking at all the stuff on the MLS. This was back when short sales were huge, REOs were huge. Everything was, going for, crazy prices. We were picking up stuff for like 10,000 a unit. Now we're selling stuff for like 120,000 a unit. It's crazy. It's
crazy, man. One thing I admire about you guys is that, similar to my story, is we didn't have a lot of handouts. There was a lot of friends in the business that we were in that definitely helped us, but, and it's not monetary. It was like people that we bought deals from, people that we networked with, because back when we started this, there weren't that many groups that were out there. I mean, there were the RIA groups, but, a lot of those people were just kind of looky-loos, and not really doing it. They were like interested in it, but they weren't really committed. And one of the things that I admire about you guys, you and Kevin, is that you've built this, based on just brute force. And it reminds me of Dave and I. We started this in half of a duplex. I lived in half of a duplex in a part of Columbus where it's like the gentrified area. So it wasn't that safe, It was still like, kind of seedy in some areas. And there were times where literally we're like down to maybe our last $5. And we're like, oh, man. And we'd look at each other and be like, this deal better close tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like this wire needs to hit, bro. So we've gone through those ups and downs, and it sounds like you guys have done the same thing and through the years. But it's like, one of the other questions I had for you is like, what was the hardest thing you had to overcome coming up, being a real estate entrepreneur to now where you are to this day?
One of the hardest things, I guess, was also learning to delegate. So early on, I had to do everything. I was out there sanding, painting, doing the plumbing, electrical. I went and got my real estate license. I eventually got my license. I got my lead license, my asbestos license. I was working on my plumbing license. I got my contractor license. I was like, I got to do everything. I got to know everything. And it was like, I'm limited. I'm one guy. And, we had some other helpers here and there. We got started, but I could only be at so many projects. Kevin's running with the tenants. It was how to build systems and then delegate and let, trust that those people would do at least 80% of what you needed to get done, and trust that's enough, and, that's how otherwise you can't scale. No. And so that was a hard thing that took a few years. And I was very critical of some of our employees early on. I was not probably fun to work with. Yeah.
Was there a
probably
book,
a dick.
Was there a book that you read, Matt, that helped you become a better delegator, build the team that you have now?
Not really. So I've read a lot of books, and I've been on Bigger Pockets a lot. I've gone to the conferences, but what really changed it was more meeting up with local landlords And so I actually met out. So we joined and we became the board for the RAGS, which is our local landlord association. We did that. We were going to give back and we wanted to network. But more like some of the landlords that have been doing it for 30 years. So like there was this guy, Attilio Caropoli, who, he was basically a teacher and he grew to 700 units. And he kind of,
Wow.
but he all by himself for the most part. And he's got this, big thing. And he's then now been buying, he's been selling all this stuff and actually bought like country clubs and all these other things and just kind of shifted out to that. Early on, he kind of gave us some advice. There was another guy had similar things, and they all kind of took us over under their wing and basically were willing to talk to us and mentor us. And we just take them to coffee, and then they like the amount of advice we'd get for a cup of coffee was insane. I mean, the value was insane. I even got to walk with. Do you know who Harold Grinspoon is?
No. Who is that guy?
So Harold Grinspoon is the owner of Aspen Square Management. They are the largest privately owned real estate company in the United States, possibly all the world. He's got, I think they're up to 40,000 units.
Oh, geez.
And he lives in my backyard. He lives in Long Meadow. And so I got to meet with him, one time. And the guy's, I think he's like 94 awesome. Right now. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But he started his company out of Holyoke. That's where I am right now. And just being able to kind of ask him a couple questions. I got talked to his personal assistant. And so I got to go, he does like a walk every night. So I got to go walk with him while he was, doing it. And then just got to ask him a few questions. And wow, it was just amazing.
Yeah, man.
That kind of knowledge that I would get. And that was what he was honestly the one who helped like explain to me that the only way he was able to grow across the country to tens of thousands of units was delegating, and some of the tips that he gave me there. All the books I read about it helps a little bit. Like, there's the Rich Dad books and stuff like that. And I don't want to talk bad about them, but it's all about, they get you excited, but right. The substance is generally minimal. You can generally consolidate most of the books you read into maybe like a paragraph, or like not paragraph, but like maybe one chapter of the knowledge you can gain. The rest of it's fluff. And it's, they got to make it look that you're actually paying for a book. That's right. Worth it. That's why there's these programs out there that now consolidate all these books to the knowledge you can get.
Summarize it.
Yeah. Cliff notes.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned one thing that I like to talk about. I have a video about it, about like, your network, like that's the most powerful thing that you could do when you're an entrepreneur, is surround yourself with people that have either done it, currently doing it. And that's why we invest in, several hundred, we're close to like 100K a year just on these networks that we're a part of. And to have a conversation with somebody that's doing a little bit more than you, it's just like skipping pages in a book is really what it is. They're just on a different page. They went through chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and you might be in chapter 3 and they're in chapter 10. And so when you have these conversations, just like you had the conversation with that guy at 40,000 units, I mean, he's seen a lot, right? And he's like in his kind of in his retirement phase now, but that's right. Invaluable, man. So like, I remember you were saying that you guys are on here on this platform sharing your knowledge. So, for my followers, definitely go check out Two Guys Take on Real Estate, because they're definitely doing the business. You want to hang around people that are either doing it, all right, not just somebody that did it back in 2009, 2010, and they're just telling you the concepts. Want somebody that's actually live today. That's why, when you see me live, or if you see Matt live, he's actually in an auction, bidding on a house. You see me in a property that we just had somebody move out, showing you what to use in your rental properties, stuff like that. So that's awesome that you mentioned that. So what do you guys, what's your kind of like your rest of 2021 look like, Matt?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I agree. Just real quick, is that what I love about also the TikTok is we actually, like, I'm communicating with you. You're over in Ohio. I'm over here. I'm able to network with people like Sam Prim. I know you were on the live with him the other day. Another great guy. Devin Burr, all these great people that we've met and I'm networking with and now communicating, and that's just phenomenal. Even, on a side note, even Bigger Pockets has created this great platform for people to learn and network. You got the smaller guys. And when I was at the last conference, there were over 1,000 people there, and all walks of life. There were ones focusing on note buying, commercial property. Some that only had a duplex, and then people who had thousands of units. And just kind of networking, talking, and learning, like you were saying, everyone's at different stages. If you're interested in that, you can find someone. And most people, it's not like a competition. Everyone loves sharing the knowledge, for the most part, my experience. It's not like, oh, I don't want to teach you, you're not going to be, against me. It's everyone wants to help everyone lift each other up. And I love that about this kind of community.
I love it too, man. Like, one of the sayings that one of my mentors who lives in Maryland likes to, he always kind of instilled this upon me, is like, dude, it's not competition, it's collaboration. Because there's plenty of deals out there. Plenty of deals. Yes, it's competitive. But if you're constantly putting your marketing out and you have your own process, one seller is going to like you better than the other guy or gal. And if you can just focus on, and I'm speaking from experience here, if you can focus on solving their problem first and the money last, you're going to get a lot more deals coming your way. Because that's all Matt and I are doing, is we're problem solvers. We're solving problems. And one of the things that I talk about is, like, before you even talk about money, you gotta understand, like, them as a person, right? They're people too. They just are going through a hard spot right now, So that's working well for us too, Matt, is just before we even start talking about price. And I know, I talk about the formula all the time. Before we even talk about the formula, it's like, well, where are you going? Where are you going after you sell your house? What do you do for a living? Those are some of the questions. Like, get to know them a little bit before you start freaking lowballing them, because they're not gonna trust you. You gotta understand, these people are very scared. They're very scared. This is a troubling time for them. But Matt, do you have any questions you want to ask me, or anything that you want to discuss here also?
Yeah, and so I'm actually interested.
Whoa. Currently, did you guys still following me? I don't know what happened, but we just lost Matt. Let me see if I can reconnect with him. That was weird. You guys still with me? Hopefully his phone didn't die. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys got some value from that. I'm going to hang on here a little bit longer to answer any questions, but hopefully I can get Matt back on here, because we were having such a great convo. Matt, the reason why Matt and I wanted to get on here is because I've been following Matt and Kev in the very beginning of their TikTok journey. And him and I go in his lives, he'll sometimes go in my lives, and he's got so much good knowledge to share. He just sent me a text saying that he I don't know what happened. He got cut off too. Oh, okay. Connection on your own is lagging. Oh, guys, this is why it says his life ended. Let me see. All right. So I think something happened with his phone. But guys, go follow Two Guys' Take on Real Estate. They have some absolute knowledge, and also follow their YouTube channel. Great guys out of the East Coast. They're in Massachusetts, and they have some really good stuff to share. I was on one of their lives, and they were at an auction. And if you guys don't, know what that whole process, what an auction is, They basically break it down, how they find the deal, what they do before they go to an auction and all that stuff. And they're great guys. So definitely go follow them. But I'm going to do some Q&A on what I went over, what Matt went over. And then I also have to run because I haven't eaten lunch yet. It's 1:30 my time. And I just did an IG live and then I did TikTok live, but let's go back and see if there's any questions here. Awesome. Mr. Burr was on for a little bit too. I'm Filipino, by the way, C-Mugs. Well, it looks like, well, hopefully you guys got a lot of value from that last live. Don't see a lot of questions on here. I know that it cut out, so some of you guys popped off, but let's see here. It looks like I'm also having some really bad connection, but anyways, guys, join me later today. I'm going to be at out in the field, and I'll be at a property, do another live there. Appreciate you following me. Appreciate you following Matt. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Is it wise to invest far away or state? All right, there's one last question I'll answer. This is a good question. I would start locally in your market, and if you're in a market that just isn't that big, right? Then try and go at least to the next bigger city near you. Okay, so if you're in a smaller market of a big MSA, then go to that MSA, because guess what? You're going to be in front of more buyers and more motivated sellers. Okay. So good question, but I'll see you guys soon. Appreciate you. Later.